Single problem.
So they can't get me. That rained a lot. No.
Yep. Thank you very much. Oh, well.
Yes.
Okay, well, we're gonna have a busy night of recognition.
Gentlemen, hey, how you doing? Brandon,
Hey, Ed.
did get cleaned up.
Yep.
Yeah. Bill,
Mostly my glasses and face, so
you said you got muddy, and I wondered.
well, the rain and the dust hit me at the same time, so I have these little mud patches all over my face.
It's great for your skin.
Could be. Could be.
We got in the dark.
45 seconds, everybody.
Oh, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can put that in my electric car if my battery runs down.
Did you?
I
know, I was gone too, I didn't get back, so.
I wanted to go.
I did too. It's turning his Fisher, one here.
Well, you know what that is, right?
Well, apparently, hi, Bobby. Apparently, Fisher didn't have anybody there to speak of.
Didn't even say.
I guess there was somebody.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the North Platte City Council meeting here on Tuesday, April 16th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. I'm calling the meeting to order. We have first an invocation by Vaughn Farnbrook for the Rock Church, please.
As always, thank you guys for allowing us to pray and open up the city council meetings. Let's pray. Jesus, I first thank you for a local city government that allows us to pray to you to begin their meetings. I pray that this blesses you and gives you glory. I pray for tonight's agenda as these elected officials pour through the agenda items and make decisions to better North Platte and those who call North Platte home. May they do so with integrity, honesty, and humility. I pray for the health and wellness of our leaders. May you give them the capacity, mind, body, and spirit to thrive in their leadership and personal endeavors. Jesus, we thank you for the opportunity that you have given our city, the opportunity to expand, to make better, and to broaden the bright future you have for North Platte. We humbly ask you to give our leaders the wisdom and discernment to steward such opportunities so that they can cultivate a rich and meaningful life for those in our town. We pray all of this in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. We have kind of a full house tonight, and we have several recognitions, and those of you that might be in the hallway, I have a feeling the crowd will thin a little bit once we get through the recognitions. So we invite everyone to stay as long as you'd like, but if you're just here for recognition, we're not going to hold it against you if you decide to leave after the recognition. So thank you very much. Roll call, please.
here,
Here. Poole.
here,
Lucas.
Here.
Eric.
Here.
Landers.
here,
Reeker.
here.
Here.
Thank you. The current copy of the Open Meetings Act of the State of Nebraska is posted on the wall at the back of the council chambers. Meeting procedure. The public may address specific agenda items at the pleasure of the mayor. If recognized by the mayor, please identify yourself by stating your name and address. Please address the council through the mayor and limit your remarks. We respect our city employees and request that any complaints or criticisms of employees not be aired in a public meeting. Concerns about employees should be brought to the attention of the city administrator or the mayor. Individuals in violation will be declared out of order. Starting the awards, accolades, and presentations section of tonight's meeting, we're first going to have a Transit Week proclamation. And it's what I have here. I think we have a number of our transit employees joining us here in the audience tonight. Is that correct? Where is Renee hiding? Okay, there. Okay. Behind me, very sneaky. All right. Everyone, I'm sorry, I'm going to sit and do this proclamation just so the microphone will work. Because like Ed, I'm having a little trouble with my allergies right now. From the office of the mayor, a proclamation, whereas public transit provides Nebraskans access to medical, business, employment, social, and supportive services, and whereas public transit allows individuals to remain independent, contributes to economic development, reduces traffic congestions, decreases emissions, and improves rural and urban mobility. And whereas public transit provides the only public transportation service to many of the smaller towns and rural counties in Nebraska. And whereas Nebraska is served by 2 urban transit systems, 5 small urban transit systems, and over 50 rural transit systems in 89 Nebraska counties. And whereas Nebraska has numerous public transit professionals who provide service to Nebraskans and must maintain stringent educational requirements and standards. And whereas the Nebraska Association of Transportation Providers recognizes the important role that public transit professionals play and wishes to acknowledge that role. And whereas public transportation in the state is provided by a collaborative efforts of the Nebraska Department of Transportation and Federal Transit Administration to provide resources to transport individuals every day. Now, therefore, I, Brandon A. Kelleher, Mayor of North Platte, Nebraska, do hereby congratulate the North Platte Public Transit Agency and their employees for the services provided to our citizens and proclaim the week of April 21st through 27th, 2024 as Public Transit Week in North Platte, Nebraska and the surrounding area. And I do hereby urge all citizens to increase their understanding and awareness of our local transit system and the service they provide. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the early encouragement. One thing I would like to do is we have many of our transit employees here today is to sort of read their names. Now, I'm not going to read their last names, but I'm going to read their first names. We have Dan, Kylie, Alec, Casey, Sammy, Lisa, Mimi, Leanne, Laura, Mitzi, Jedediah, Robert, Tara, April, Christy, Danny, Leanne, Felix, Robin, Renee, and a second Renee over here, all running our transit. And we provide hundreds of rides every week to people. Thank you very much for your service to many people who would have no other way to get around our community if we didn't have you. So thank you for your great service. Now, I'm going to give this plaque to Felix and Sammy, if you guys would approach, please. These are our 2 longest drivers. Thanks, everybody. Okay, photo op. Hold on, we need one more photo. Keep clapping. Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, next, we have something that's always a great honor, and that is an opportunity for the mayor to swear in 2 new police officers here in the city of North Platte. Gentlemen, please come in and the center. Let's see, we have to do this just right. Not here, good? Okay, try to get my, that's not my good side. Okay. First tonight, we have Officer Brian Smith and Jesse Sutton, right? Right. Okay. They're both hired in North Platte Police Department in December of 2023. On April 12th, 2024, they both graduated with the 216th basic training class at the Nebraska Law Enforcement Training Center in Grand Island. Both officers successfully completed 16 weeks of training and received their Nebraska law enforcement certification, which is a great feat. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll get to the clapping in a moment, everybody. Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. I, John Smith. Okay. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution and laws of the state of Nebraska.
and the Constitution and the laws of the state of Nebraska.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
And defend them against enemies, foreign and domestic.
And defend them against enemies, foreign and domestic.
And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of a peace officer
the duties of a peace officer
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
The air conditioner. I wore long johns today because it was cold out.
That's right.
Well, I told you there'd be more chairs. If anyone needs a chair, we've got a few out here if you're inclined. So, okay. And the last opportunity I have during awards and accolades tonight is to recognize our scouts from Troop 81 and their leader, Mr. Bob Britton. Bob, would you introduce your scouts, please?
Yes, I'm Scoutmaster Troop 81, Charlie Seabold, and Alan Nisley, where'd he go? There he is. Eli Durnell, Logan Durnell, and JJ Ship.
Okay.
They're working on citizenship and the community merit badge, and after the meeting, they'd like to have an opportunity to interview one of you fine people.
Okay. We'll flip for volunteers towards the end. Thank you, gentlemen. It's certainly glad to see scouts and people learning about their civic duty. It's a great thing to have going in our community. So thank you guys for being here tonight. Consent agenda. Let me quickly look at my papers and make sure I've done everything I needed to do. Okay, I think we're in good shape. So, all right, consent agenda. All matters under the consent agenda are considered by the city council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Any city council member may, however, remove an item from consent by request. Number 1A, approve the minutes of April 2, 2024. B, send the application of Pecos League of Professional Baseball Clubs, DBA North Platte 80s, for a Class C liquor license on and off sale located at 120 West 18th Street to the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission with no recommendation. Item C, approve the application by Las Mananitas for a special designated license on May 5th, 2024 from 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. at Las Mananitas, 408 North Dewey Street for a Cinco de Mayo fundraiser. That's it for the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Hold on, I've lost my sheet of paper. Okay. Motion by Reeker, second by Vols. Calling the question on the consent agenda. Consent agenda is passed. Thank you. Item number 2. Adopt the resolution consenting to the sale and consumption of alcoholic liquor on East 5th and North Dewey Street during Music on the Bricks on May 17th and 18th, 2024.
I move to adopt the resolution consenting to the sale and consumption of alcoholic liquor on East 5th Street and North Dewey Street during Music on the Bricks on May 17th and 18th, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Garrick, second by Flanders. Any discussion on item number 2? Seeing none, calling the question on item number 2, please. Item number 2 is passed. Item number 3, approve the application by GL Concepts LLC DBA Good Life on the Bricks for a special designated license on May 17th and 18th, 2024 from 12 p.m. to 1 a.m. on East 5th Street and North Dewey Street during Music on the Bricks.
Move to approve the application by GL Concepts LLC DBA Good Life on the Bricks for a special designated license on May 17th and 18th, 2024 from 12 p.m. to 1 a.m. on East 5th Street and North Dewey Street during Music on the Bricks.
Second.
Motion by Garrick, second by Nisley. Any discussion on item number 3? Mr. Lucas.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment on these last couple items. I happen to be downtown Saturday for the event with all the children, and it's fun. In addition to these wonderful events we're having, like Music in the Bricks, I heard they were estimated that there were 600 to 700 people down in the downtown on the Bricks, and the volunteer group that put that together just did an exceptional job. And the city, I mean, everything organized, the gates, the stop, I mean, everything. It's becoming a nicely well-oiled machine downtown. It seems secure, organized, and I think we're really seeing the community energized, all the things we dreamed of when we appropriated the funding for a lot of that stuff down there. So I just wanted to share how exciting last weekend was to see so many kids down there, in addition to the neat events like this.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? Seeing none, calling the question on item number 3, please. Item number 3 is passed. Item number 4, approve the bids for tennis pickleball courts at Cody Park and authorize the mayor to sign contracts with Beverage Inc. for proposal number 1 and LER Inc. DBA Renner Sports Surfacing for proposal number 2.
I move to approve the bids for tennis pickleball courts at Cody Park and authorize the mayor to sign contracts with Beverage Inc. for proposal number 1 and LER Inc. DBA Renner Sports Surfacing for proposal number 2 as presented in the council materials.
Second.
Motion by Garrick, second by Nisley. Before we have any formal vote on this, we know we have a number of pickleball and tennis representatives here tonight. Some of them making gestures even as we speak. And I think a couple of them would like to make a couple comments, and I would particularly like to make sure that the folks that play pickleball and tennis are okay with the design and the construction of this proposed improvements. So if a couple of you would like to make a comment, I would appreciate it. It need not be long.
My name's Kevin Wood. I live at 2620 West C Street.
My name's John Lamer. I live at 2616 Birchwood.
I'd like to thank the mayor for giving us the opportunity to speak, but also for giving us the initial plan of come up with something good for North Platte that we can do with Cody Park, both for tennis and for pickleball. You really got that started. I want to thank the city administration for their support of this project. I want to thank all of the city council for your hard work in whatever role you have played. And I want to thank former Mayor Dwight Livingston for providing the seed money, I'm going to say years and years ago, to get a lot of this started. I want to thank Mid-Nebraska Community Foundation for helping us collect and keep track of nearly $500,000 that we're going to use to help build this. We don't have the $500,000, we're close, and we still need more, but I want to thank them for their role. Great Plains Health has played a role in this, and Visit North Platte has played a role in this. All the individuals and businesses that have contributed to this project. I want to thank the tennis community, the pickleball community. We've all had a lot of people come together to make this thing happen.
I couldn't have said it any better. We are just grateful to so many people that have made this happen, how we all came together and worked together. I'm so proud of the way we coordinated together to make this happen. Everybody who donated, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for all you've done. We appreciate it. Everybody here for approving the whole process. We are very grateful. This has been a long time coming for tennis and a couple years coming for pickleball. So we are just grateful.
I'm looking forward to the recreational players playing at the new courts, the competitive players playing at the new courts, and hopefully the professional players playing at the new courts. I'm looking forward to the money brought in from the tournaments that we'll bring to town. The money is great, the motel rooms are great, the restaurants are great, but I'm mostly looking forward to the amount of fun people are going to have. I have so much fun, and I want to share so much of that with so many other people.
Thank you, gentlemen. Anybody have any questions for these guys while they're up? One more.
I just want to add one on real quick. We also really appreciate, I know there was some concern about which company to use. And in the past, the courts maybe haven't been made up to par the way that we had hoped for them. And so we're very excited. Renner, if you look at their website and if you look at the other projects that they've done for tennis and pickleball around the country, very dedicated to the process. We'll make sure they use the right materials so that these courts can last for a long, long time and not have the issues that we've had in the past. So really appreciate the fact that you're willing to go out and get a company that's dedicated just to this type of courts as well. So, and as they all said, thank you so much for all your efforts. We're thrilled to be a part of it and helping to raise the money also. So thank you all.
Hey, Tammy. Sorry. You're one of my neighbors and I know where you live, but you didn't say your address, so I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, 3802 Sequoia Drive.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we clap.
Good evening. Eric Seacrest, 109 South Maloney Drive. This is another example of what can be done when the community works together. The city played a huge role in this, and there was a challenge to raise some money from the private sector, from individual donors, from foundations, etc., for two reasons. One, to share in the cost. The second, to show support. Voting with your money does show support. I'm representing Mid-Nebraska Community Foundation here. We have had the pleasure of being involved in this project. It started about over 2.5 years ago. The administration put a challenge out. Hey, if we're going to do this, we need to get support from the community. And we were tasked with receiving the money and doing what we can to help get it raised. We have 3 different funds, one for pickleball courts, one for tennis courts, and a combination for pickleball and tennis courts, for those people that don't want to pick one or the other. We hold, as of right now, $372,700 in those funds. And it's also appropriate to remind everybody and recognize the Visit North Platte organization that has given a grant award to the city for $100,000 to help with this project. They set a high bar of what they wanted to see to attract visitors, and the city met that bar with this proposal. And again, it'll be very exciting to see it done and celebrate another thing that happens when the town works together. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. I'm going to ask Brent just for a second to give us a quick rundown on what the construction of this project might look like.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Brent Birkeland, City Engineer. We got, just as a summary, we received 2 bids for the Schedule 1 and 2 bids for Schedule 2. We broke it up into the site prep and then the construction of the courts and the fence and the nets, those parts. And the low bid on the dirt work was Beverage Inc. out of North Platte, and the low bid on the tennis court construction, the courts would be the pickleball and the tennis. That was Renner Sports, and we're using post-tension concrete, which is the best product that we can use for the courts at this point, and they should have a very long life, probably 60 to 100 years, depending on how things behave. So long beyond probably anybody in this room will hopefully remember in the future. We won't have to go through this process again. As a general schedule item, I visited with Lear, the Renner Sports surfacing. They're looking at probably late July, they would like to be going on doing the construction of the concrete. So we haven't scheduled all of the timing as far as the demolition and the dirt work that has to happen before then. But generically, they're looking at late summer with the plan of being open by the end of the construction season. So the October type of time frame. We have a few variables to get through to see how that all lays out, but that's exciting. They're looking at this year. And the other part that's exciting about it is the prices came in slightly less than we were planning, which is great. And when we're looking at the budget of about $1.5 million for this part, this was around 1.42 million. So that was good news in the environment that we've been dealing with the last few years to actually have something hit closer to where we're at instead of being over.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Brent while he's here?
Brent, can you kind of refresh my memory as to how many courts we're talking about? How many are going to be pickleball? How many are going to be tennis?
8 tennis, 10 pickleball, and then we have some area in the pickleball space that you can have some seating, things like that. The other thing that we're doing is we're changing the grading. With the current type of surfacing would be an asphalt. The way that you install it, you're very limited on sloping it. Right now it mainly slopes from the south to the north, so when you're looking at the south it's high, but when you go on the north side, like the concession side, it's lower to the ground. So we changed the sloping of it so it will be lower, so we don't have it as high. So from a spectator from the perimeter, it'll be a lot better visibility all the way around the courts, more uniform.
So did I understand you correctly? We're going to have 8 pickleball and 8 tennis, or 8 combination?
8 tennis, 10 pickleball.
Okay, all right, thank you. And the pickleball courts, are they, or the tennis, either one, convertible for both use or not?
They could be, but with the nets, it kind of, the way that they're set up is to have their own space. They could be set up by removing the nets. The pickleball could work on the tennis, but you have to deal with the striping and things like that. But they're mainly set to be more standalone. They could be used together, but more than likely we're just going to have the 8 and the 10 separate.
Well, with that kind of longevity, I was thinking in that time frame, thoughts of what's fun may change, and so
Absolutely.
might be an opportunity to reutilize the same facilities with a different application. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, Brad, go ahead.
So this doesn't include the restrooms. Will that be included with the Cody Park renovation, or is that a separate bid, or what's the thought process there?
That would be a separate item, and we've been talking with Lane and the mayor a little bit on what that looks like. Some of that is we've talked about having the Cody Pool Park part getting finished, so we kind of have a holistic view of everything that we're going to have, and we're getting close. But we had that as a separate item, and we have it spatially identified where we'd like to put it. But we'll figure that out, I guess, a little bit more in the future as far as getting that placed.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Ty?
If we go back to the time of design, were you able to get the coloring and the textures and all that were contemplated within the budget? In other words, did you get both the look and the surface quality that you were hoping for?
Yes, we did.
Great. Thank you.
Ed?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. So am I understanding then, are we going to be use the Cody Park pool facilities, restroom facilities? Will they satisfy both the pickleball and tennis and the pool, or are we looking at a totally separate standalone restroom facility for the tennis and pickleball?
We're looking at probably separate, but some of it'll get into the timing. What we're looking at on the pool is, depending on where we end up on the money and the budget, we're looking at having restrooms that could be used from the outside of the pool at the splash pad area. That was a consideration. But what we were talking about, this would be more in Lane and Lyle's side, but the old restrooms over by the concessions, the outdoor, of removing those, and then these would replace that in function, but they would also be right on the property for the tennis pickleball area.
And there's no way to use the restrooms for the pool and the pickleball?
That we were looking at doing that. We're in the kind of the price, trying to right size the dollars on that. And so ideally, yes, we'd do that, but we're gonna have to see how the budget comes out, if we can keep those or not. But that was the plan, was to have restrooms that would be outward facing on the pool, that on the south side, you could use that.
I would hope we could do that. It would seem if we're looking at spending more money for an additional set of restrooms and we're a little short on the pool, it may make some sense to not spend money on a second set of restrooms and put it into the pool to make it work.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at that.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone have anything else? Donna?
I did receive a call from Barb Aldridge, and of course, she's not here, but she is watching our meeting tonight. So just would let you know, she's very pleased about this. She told me. So,
Okay, well, Donna did mention Barb's name, but it wouldn't be right to not mention Barb Aldridge and her contributions to getting this whole project underway and done. So let's all clap for Barb since she's watching. All right, any other questions or comments? Calling the question on item number 4, please. Thanks, Brent. Everyone else? Item number 4 is passed. Item number 5. Okay, we'll pause and let everyone leave. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate your time.
did you guys go out and play yet? Do you like it? I know, me too.
Okay, here we go. Number 5. Approve the resolution for the Nebraska Land Days Parade on June 15th, 2024.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the resolution for the Nebraska Land Days Parade on June 15, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Reeker, second by Vols. Any discussion on item number 5? Seeing none, calling the question on item number 5. Item number 5 is passed. Item number 6, adopt the resolution amending the user fees resolution for fiscal year 2023-2024 for the planning department to add micro-TIF blight and substandard study application fee in the amount of $500.
I move to adopt the resolution amending the user fee resolution for fiscal year 2023-2024 for the planning department to add micro-TIF blight and substandard study application fee in the amount of $500.
Second.
Motion by Garrick, second by Lucas. Any discussion on item number 6?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Reeker.
So that $500 fee, what will that include? Will that include the actual evaluation of the site to determine if it's fits the standard to be micro-TIF?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And
that would help.
and filling out the application, creating that's basically the city staff doing the application process.
So this would help cover some of the city's costs in this process?
Exactly.
Okay.
We estimate that it takes approximately 1 day, an 8-hour day to do this, give or take a little bit.
Okay.
That's why it's a $500. So.
Okay.
Mayor Keller, just a one brief, this will not create a duplication. I mean, some of these areas have been determined blighted, substandard.
In the event that they're already blighted and substandard, they wouldn't need to do this. So. Anything else? Questions, comments? Seeing none, calling the question on item number 6, please. Item number 6 is passed. Item number 7, approve the supplement of a small cell master license agreement with Verizon Wireless and authorize the mayor to sign necessary documents.
I move to approve the supplement to small cell master license agreement with Verizon Wireless and authorize the mayor to sign necessary documents.
Second.
Is that Brian?
Yeah.
Okay, motion by Garrick, second by Flanders. Angie, we don't have a vote screen here. There we go. Any discussion? Sorry. Mr. Lucas?
I was having a little bit of a hard time understanding what we're doing here. If you don't mind just explaining what we're doing. Thank you.
So this came about from an original agreement that was entered into in about 2017, in which the city agreed to allow Verizon to put these small cell or just like very small antennas on city-owned poles. And so that's the controlling agreement. What we're doing with this, we're calling it a supplement. That was the supplement form was included as part of the original agreement. And what it does is it allows them to add in additional poles. And so this particular one that they want to add is the corner of East F Street and South Silber. And so what it amounts to is by approving this, then Verizon would come in with this small, and I think there was some information in the packet. There's basically a small little antenna that goes up onto the city-owned pole. And to be able to utilize the pole, I think the agreement calls for a $700 payment. And then to utilize any of the power to run that small cell antenna, then Verizon also pays a $1,500 fee per year for utilizing the power then as well. So there's the two different forms of payment that come off of it. But it's, from my perspective, it's adding on these supplements is contemplated with the original agreement from 2017.
Just comment that we had a lot of discussion about this back in 2017, but I haven't heard a word bad about it from anybody since. Have you, Mr. Nisley? I haven't remembered this yet. So thank you.
Mr. Vols?
And if I'm not mistaken, I think with 5G, this is going to be the way, because I remember having the cell tower debates in planning and here, and eventually it's all going to go to kind of a light tower type thing like we have here. So this is good procedure and much less obtrusive for the public. So,
Other Ed?
Mr. Mayor, does the city have any liability in this situation if a pole snaps off or something like that? And are we responsible then for any damage that might be incurred on Verizon's property?
If you give me 1 minute here, I'll find it in the agreement.
59,
It may not even
58.
be a minute.
Need a Jeopardy music here.
Information in here. Six point five.
Don is saying 6.5.
Yep, I'm almost there.
I read too many contracts this week. I can't remember what that one said.
69,
Yeah, so without getting into the details of it, it is contemplated under the master license agreement what would happen in that type of situation. So yeah, under paragraph 6.5, damages caused by a licensee. So then licensee is required to basically repair any damage that they cause. So it goes into some more detail there, which for the sake of everybody, I won't get into all the details, but it is provided for under that master
Is
contract.
that reciprocal? So if we damage their equipment or pole falls over, are we liable for any of their materials that would be damaged?
I think that's 6.9. 6.9, they.
Okay,
They
good
take
enough.
all that, yeah.
I thought it probably was, but that's all I had.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, calling the question on item number 7, please. Item number 7 is passed. Item number 8, refer the City of North Platte, Nebraska Blight and Substandard Study Horizon Builders as prepared by Marvin Planning Consultants, Inc. to the City of North Platte Planning Commission for a public hearing to determine if the proposed area qualifies as blighted and substandard.
Mr. Mayor, I move to refer the City of North Platte, Nebraska Blight and Substandard Study dash Horizon Builders as prepared by Marvin Planning Consultants, Inc. to the City of North Platte Planning Commission for a public hearing to determine if the proposed area qualifies as blighted and substandard.
Second.
Motion by Lucas, second by Vols. Any discussion on item number 8? Ed?
Was there some discussion when we approved the rezoning that these folks were not going to ask for tax increment financing?
I believe you thanked the gentleman for not asking, but I don't know there was any discussion.
I thought
Anyone
that was
recall?
part of the discussion, but obviously they are, so.
Yeah. Okay. Other questions or comments? Mr. Lucas?
Maybe the developer may be in the audience. I was recalling some of that conversation too. So if he's here, I wondered if we could get an update on that, if this is appropriate time for that.
So at one point on that deal, sorry, Josh Rhodes, 830 Bronze Road. So at one point on that deal, we weren't going to look at, as far as any TIF financing, doing a blight study. So it came to our attention that we have a major issue with the sewer main up there. So a sewer main only sits at like 3.5 feet right now. And in order to make that, sorry, in order to make that property work, now we have to bring in quite a bit of fill and change that sewer design up there, which is going to incur a little over $1 million cost. And if you take $1 million over, was it 42 properties we're going to put in there, that project doesn't work anymore now. So, and as I found out in North Platte, there's a lot of shallow sewer mains, which is something we're not used to in Grand Island. In Grand Island, most of our mains are 17, 20 foot deep in the ground. So we don't ever have that issue as far as getting connected or hooked up to sewer main, so you can get all the sewage out of there. So that's kind of where the change came from once all the designs were done, and then we came back in and did all the bids on it to see where the costs are. That's where the change came from. So, yep. Is that kind? I mean, I don't know if that kind of answers your question or.
Well, it does, yeah. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah.
Probably maybe not as much as you, but
So, no, I was that was more than double what we thought. So we had a real surprise there once we got. Basically, the engineering was done. We sent it out for bid when the bids came back in. So, kind of changed that whole ball game of that project. So, and we're into that project quite a ways at this point when that occurred. So, yes.
Thank you. Other questions or comments for the developer while we've got him here?
Question.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yep. I'm not sure who I'd address this to. You probably won't have the information. But this sounds like it's going to be an ongoing problem. Like the mains weren't put in deep enough to begin with. So would it, I mean, everybody's going to have to add all this fill and raise their grade. Would maybe somebody not look into, maybe we should just redo the sewers and get them put in properly so that this doesn't have to be done on every construction job on that side of town. There's a lot of issues on that side of town because of this taboo.
A lot of that, Mark, is because of the flatness of the city to get it there. I mean, someplace you just can't lower the main. I mean, they're about as low as you can get to get the flow.
Without getting into, well,
lift stations and things like that, more cost. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into that, but that's part of the nature of being in a very flat city.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, you gotta.
Yep.
So,
Ed?
Mr. Mayor, and I understand what Mark's saying, and I guess, are we, in our planning department or engineering department rather, are we looking at putting some kind of a central lift station in so that we can develop this area on the north side of town? Or are the developers just gonna have to all foot the bill to raise their properties, or what are we thinking?
This isn't just a north side of town problem. I mean, it's everywhere because of the lay of the land. I mean, and because of the cost of lift stations and the ongoing maintenance and things, we've actually done things to try and get away from them as much as we can. So, I mean, it's not that we would rule it out, but we try and get away from that as much as you can and just have the natural flow because you have less problems in the long run. I mean, we have lift stations on the south side of the interstate. We have, a few scattered around town. It's not just a one area problem.
And I understand that, Lane, and I guess what I'm thinking about, there's some pretty sizable acreages on the north side, and I know they're on the south side too, but does it make sense for us to look long-term at putting lift stations in instead of having a developer, in this case, maybe spend $1 million or $1.5 million for fill, when that could be allocated somehow to lift stations?
It's probably a more complicated issue than just that. That'd be a long-term, like you said, engineering question, but I mean, it's been looked at for probably 40 years, and that's where we've kind of got to where we're at. And some of it, you'd be talking about carrying out Maine or doing lift stations in huge areas of town for probably more expensive than what we're talking here, like great, much more expense. So
okay,
it's not something we wouldn't look at. It's just something that's been trying to get away from some of those expenses. The city's taken that approach for probably 50+ years.
Well, and I understand, we're in a situation now where we need the housing, and we're probably gonna have to utilize some of this land that maybe in the past wasn't even considered, so just a thought. And as you know, I'm not necessarily involved in having more government involvement, but sometimes it does make sense.
Well, I think one important note on this is, as many of you pointed out at one point or another, this is a good problem to have. I mean, this is a growth challenge here, and contemplating putting lift stations at different places of the community is something we wouldn't even be thinking about if we weren't growing. And if we weren't growing, we wouldn't even be able to contemplate having the money to do these things or to put lift stations in place. So, while it's a challenge, it's also a good challenge to have. Other comments or questions? Mr. Lucas?
Yeah, I know that we'll be talking about this in the future if the Planning Commission recommends it back to us, have time to talk about that point, but just something that I'd like you guys to think about in the meantime. Especially we have a gentleman coming from outside who's interested in investing in our community and doing work here. You have to spend a decent amount of money just to figure out what zoning can be available and go through the zoning process. And then from there, you go into the engineering and you spend a whole bunch more money figuring out the engineering and that. So I think it's important to me that if there's things he learned along the way, I'm personally not going to hold it against him that he didn't know that when he came to us from day one. And so I just want you to think about that, because a lot of the folks we've met from out of town that come into the community with good intentions are running into these challenges as they run to these steps. So I know we have plenty of time to think about this one before we'll see it again, but I just want to share with the group that we continue to see this challenge with really almost anything we've seen in new development over the last few years, ever since the cost inflations.
Okay, anything else? Calling the question on item number 8, please. Item number 8 is passed. Item number 9, approve the resolution authorizing the issuance of one warrant to Midlands Contracting, Inc. in the amount of $473,673.22, and one warrant to Myers Construction, Inc. in the amount of $381,374.15 to pay approved claims and referring to and incorporating the terms and conditions of ordinance number 3874 relating to warrant financing.
I move to approve the resolution authorizing the issuance of 2 warrants as presented in the materials.
Second.
Motion by Flanders, second by Reeker. Any discussion on item number 9? Seeing none, calling the question on item number 9, please. Item number 9 is passed. Item number 10, approve the claims.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the claims.
Second.
Motion by Reeker, second by Nitzley. Discussion on the claims? Calling the question on approving the claims. Claims are approved. Public agenda request. We respect our city employees and request that any complaints or criticism of employees not be aired in a public meeting. Concerns about employees should be brought to the attention of the city administrator or the mayor. Individuals in violation will be declared out of order. It's a time if anyone in the audience would have an agenda request item for something the council would consider in the future, you may come to the microphone and make your agenda item request, please. Mr. Beaker.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask a question, I guess, about this sheet. Is that out of sync?
That was the amended claims.
What is McQueen Emergency?
That's the fire truck. That's the down payment on the fire truck.
All right. Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Reeker, second by Nisley to adjourn. Calling the question on adjournment. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
If anyone is willing to stop, hang on for a few minutes and be interviewed by the Boy Scouts, I'm sure they would appreciate it.